What's going on, y'all, and welcome on in. In today's video, I'm going to give you guys my honest take on Milim the Destroyer. One of the most hyped up units. I think a lot of people were more excited for her than Rimu. Some of y'all may have been saving your bookmarks to try to get her first, and then you use your spare bookmarks for Rimu after if you have some left over. But I'm here to tell you guys that you need to know a little bit of info, because I've done a full day of testing, and my results, what I found, a little surprising. Not quite what I was expecting from her. However, I do think, you know, she does have some promise. We'll discuss all of it. So let's look above, guys, in today's video. Let's go ahead and talk about the pull priority, especially in comparison. How does she perform compared to Rimudu? Then we'll cover, with all our reviews, we'll do a brief guide on Mola priority, different builds, gears, artifacts, things like that we kind of tested. And from what I did a full day of lobby testing with a lot of my viewers, and we all had different kinds of Milims, trying out different stuff. Admittedly, she hasn't even been out for 12 hours, so all of this, guys, is subject to change. But I do have a good grasp, I think, of how she's overall performing. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about her strengths and weaknesses, all right? I'm going to pause real fast, and when I pull up my gear, I'm going to show the two different builds I tested today. Alright guys, here's the two builds I tried out today, and I want to have these up while I kind of talk about her different builds and styles, okay? So the main thing, let's go ahead and start with Milim's strengths. The main thing I think that a lot of people will have initial success with, of course, is Milim's speedier build, where we're going to run her like a top model Luluka. So what is Milim's strengths? Extinction on skill 3, guys. The skill 2 passive allows her to see stealth. A super unique part of E7 is the first one of its kind. She can detect stealth units, with exception of Spectre Team Beer, because that works differently. But any guiding light, any stealth units, she will be able to see at the start of her turn. Okay, it won't proc until the start of her turn. She'll also get a passive 20% evasion on top of a 20% hit chance. So if you combine that with Symbol of Unity, she's going to hit a lot of those pesky dodge units like Violet, guys. I know a lot of people have issues with Violet, things like that. On top of that, when she uses her skill 3, she'll get another 50% dodge chance, so a combined total of 70% evasion after she skills 3s. So what does that give us? That gives us a unit that has extra hit chance, that has extinction, that has self-attack up if we want to bring either a book on another unit, or she can hold her own book. So her Soulburn skill 1, give herself attack up, and then she can hit a strong skill 3. On top of that, she also has the extra Dragon Buster, which after she gets 5 focus, she can launch out a special move that does big AoE damage. The damage is actually pretty impressive. Now, on a speed build like the one on the right-hand side, guys, this is what I tested initially, and I think this is what you're going to want to use. You can probably, a lot of y'all build even faster than me. Go pen set. The sky's the limit. Some of y'all got crazy speed gear. I know it. But in general, if you get something like this, right, I would try to get at least like 250. Honestly, 242, you might get cut by certain things. But her base speed is a little bit lower, so it's kind of hard to maintain damage, and this might be one of her weaknesses. On top of that, guys, I found the skill 3 doesn't quite hit as hard as I expected it would. I think there were some people on Reddit saying that the multipliers looked like they were lower than what was data mined. I don't know how true that is, guys, so don't take my word for it. We'll wait to see further if anyone finds or digs up any more data. But overall, the skill 3, admittedly, I didn't fully Mola it. I'm going to talk about Mola priority here in a little bit. But it still felt like it didn't quite hit as hard as I expect a unit like this to hit. That being said, though, guys, if you bring attack up, if you in RTA, let's say you ban out the mitigation, or in arena you just fight a team that maybe doesn't have too much mitigation, she's going to hit hard enough where she will knock out those priority units with extinction, with self attack up, and then if we get lucky, we'll get a self buster. But she can also hit dodge units. She'll also have some built-in survivability a little bit too, so she has a lot of strengths on in exchange or in comparison to a unit like top model Luluka. Also, ignoring damage share on the skill 3 is really nice. So she does do good damage. It just felt a little bit less than I thought it would. Let me know if y'all find the same results. I think number 1, that'll be the best build for most of y'all if we want to use, especially in arena and guild war offense. I know I'll be using her there. I've really needed an extinction unit because I don't have top model Luluka, so I expect myself to use her there. Now, the left side build is what I was kind of disappointed with, and this is where I'm going to talk about more of her weaknesses, all right? Now, I haven't tried the counter build yet, but I assume it's going to be a little bit the same, okay? So I went for a lifesteal build, kind of like Spectre Tenebria gear, so she can self-sustain, she can dodge, and I put her on her counter artifact. Now, her artifact, let me go ahead and talk about artifacts here, and then I'll go more into other options later. But her artifact, I think, was so underwhelming at plus 15, guys. You really need to max limit break it. I know a lot of y'all might be like, well, that's obvious, Car. But on limited units like this, it feels really bad to have to plus 30 an artifact. And for a lot of us, well, I shouldn't say us, because I do have the Sky Stones. I could try and max it if I wanted, but with no pity, it'd be risky. And I know a lot of y'all watching also, you're strapped for bookmarks, especially for free to play. It's just very hard to plus 30 on artifact. It's a huge investment, and it's not my favorite thing to do because it's not really necessary. Now, that being said, with that kind of build, guys, a plus 15 artifact for Milim's, the Dragon Claws, it felt really bad. So if you don't plus 30 it, guys, I would try to avoid it. Maybe just go for the counter build instead. Now, the main weaknesses of this Bruiser build, guys, and I think why Bruiser build may not be the most viable. It'll probably work if you really want to invest in it and build around it. I'm sure it'll do just fine. You could treat it like a Fire Violet if you wanted, but there's a few major weaknesses, and this is why Green Violet was bad before his post buff, okay? And that is, let me go ahead and get out of this page now that y'all saw the stats. The skill 2, or excuse me, the skill 3 won't give yourself increased evasion until you cast it. So, unlike how Violet got changed, and unlike units like Remnant Violet, where they start with their evasion buff intact, guys, same with Violet, she only has 20% evasion before the skill 3 is active, which means, I don't know how many, guys, she's a mage, and you're going to want so many stats on her. She's not going to be fast on this Bruiser build, and it's hard to get her super tanky while also maintaining damage. She's very, very susceptible to getting one-shot by so many different units. Rimu, any type of flurry plus whatever, Remnant Violets, so many things are just going to shut her down, guys, and kill her if you don't get that 20% dodge, or if they have symbol or any other type of dodging or mechanic. Now, if she gets her skill 3 off and we can get comfortable running, she'll probably be a powerhouse, but it's in things like real-time arena, that is so hard to pull off. In my opinion, it's not that viable because we could just go for another different type of Fire Bruiser that has different types of survivability, like Fire Mercedes from the story. She has her survivability would be, we could probably build her a little bit tankier, and she has like Resurrection, okay? So in my opinion, guys, the Bruiser build is not the best. However, it's only been 1 day, so try your best. If it works out, hey, maybe y'all can make it work where I failed. I will probably do more testing with counter. I'll try to go bulkier, but even as a tanky player, guys, when I tried this kind of build out, it was just very, very risky. Kiseis, I think there's a lot of units that will hunt her down and really, really punish you if you try to do this kind of build. It's just too hard to get all the stats we want, and the fact that our main source of survivability is built into making her use her skill 3 where we can't go that fast, it's just a huge liability. And this is why Violet didn't work in the past. This is why I think unless she gets buffed or changed around, I don't think her viability as a Bruiser will be that great. It might be okay, guys. I'm sure a lot of y'all will have some decent success, but I don't think it'll be like as strong as Violet, which is probably fine because Violet seems really overtuned at the moment. So overall, I think, guys, try the speed build first. Go with an artifact like Symbol. I'll put up some screenshot examples too right now, guys, while I talk just randomly. But I'll show some builds that my viewers were using that we were testing in lobbies. I know for artifacts, let's start with artifacts. We can use Symbol. We can use Black Hand of the Goddess. You can use Book to self attack up and then lead into this. Just be wary of Bellions, right? Especially in arena. They're all over the place. If you want to do counter build, guys, I think you can try the claws. Just remember what I said. If they're not plus 30, here's the problem with the claws. If it's not plus 30, guys, you have to make sure you suffer a non-critical hit, which should happen, you know, usually when you dodge. But let's say we don't have the full dodge up. Let's say they get lucky and hit us through the dodge. Not only do we have to check if it's a non-critical hit, we also have to make sure we get past the 22.5, which is, you know, unless we max it, less than a, you know, normal counter set. So in my opinion, if you're not maxing this, guys, and you want to try a Bruiser build, go for counter set, build tanky, and try to maintain similar stats. Let's go ahead and talk about Agora. The Agora situation for her, boys, is I think she is a plus 15 unit. Unfortunately, most damage dealers are, but if we want to skimp a little bit, I would say we really want to try to get maxed out plus the Dragon Fear, the skill 3, because in my findings, like I mentioned, guys, the skill 3 didn't feel like it should hit as hard even on full damage. So the extra 20% damage dealt is very important there. Especially if we're trying to hunt down landies and things like that, make sure we grab it. Let's go ahead and look at the skill 2. If we want to make sure we stop the stealth, we want to make sure we max this out. And not only that, we want to have Dragon's Eye active. So this is very important, guys. This is probably the main priority. You want to get this maxed out so we guarantee get Dragon's Eye at the start of the battle. Otherwise, we're not getting any of this good stuff, okay? Skill 1 is the least important, but this thing actually, surprisingly, it's hard. And if you're going for Bruiser, especially on counter, you're going to want to max this too. But in general, remember my guide with Rimu, guys, this is the general rule for all these units. Go ahead and max out skill 2 first, because if we don't proc this, we're in deep, deep trouble. get skill 3 after, especially if you're on the speedy damage build, because this is what we really want. We want to hit hard early. We want to proc our evasion. And we want to make sure we kill an extinction those landies and things like that so they can't get revived, etc. The skill 1 is the least priority, but this is still going to be something you want to get. So maybe pick up the cheap ones that are only like 1 Mola cost each, because the skill 1 hits surprisingly hard, especially if we're running that counter build, all right? Overall, though, guys, I think a lot of you will enjoy her. Last closing thoughts. I think she'll be good in Arena. Guild Wars, that's where she's really going to shine. If you're looking for a RTA powerhouse, I hope you have some crazy gear, even better than mine, because I think she'll need some insane gear to shine, and you have to play in like a cleaver style role. I don't think the Bruiser build will really be that great, especially for real-time Arena. I'd be surprised. I'll keep testing, guys. I would love for her to work as a Bruiser, but I don't think it's going to be her best build because of the aforementioned weaknesses with her survivability being locked into skill 3. It's just such a huge liability. But overall, I think Rimu is going to be one that will be much easier. A lot of y'all can just build a basic Bruiser stat line on him, and he'll perform so well because of the guaranteed copy where we buff and we almost always get the 10,000 fixed damage, where he's very versatile on speed build. He kind of just he always performs with that counter attack, and I think just Rimu will work a lot better, especially if you're newer, especially if you don't have crazy gear. Now, if you want to kind of think outside of the box and try Milim on these fun counter and Bruiser builds, please let me know, guys, your findings in the comments below, especially in real-time Arena. But other than that, I think just try and use the offensive build with builder fast, builder with damage. And I think that in Nora damage share, the extra hit chance and the extinction, she's just a really fun unit regardless, and she looks great. So don't feel bad about pulling her. If she wasn't one of your favorite units, I think a lot of you will find a spot where she'll work well. But overall, I got to give the edge to Rimuru and make sure, especially for RTA guys, I think she's going to be a lot trickier to run overall. Okay, that's my closing thoughts. Let me know how the summons went. Let me know how your builds are testing. And yeah, I enjoy her, but I don't think she's quite as good. She's not quite... I wanted her to be better as Bruiser. Fortunately, she fell a little bit short on that mark, okay? But I'll keep testing. I'll let y'all know how it goes in the future. Thank you so much for watching, y'all, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.